Child just got order in the resort, baby, because y'all's niece and nephew, the way they was running through here just seconds ago, unhinged. What is up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, then it's just welcome to my channel, and now welcome back. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button because you will not be disappointed, unless of course your taste level is lacking. And if that's the case, then like I say every time, I don't have the words because I can't relate to such a struggle. But to everyone else, welcome. Y'all, I really feel like I can really get back into the groove of like multiple uploads a week now that I'm back in the house and I have a separate room again where I can just film. When I was in my last apartment, y'all, it was a 1-bedroom. I would have to set up the equipment and break it down, and that was just a lot every time I had to film. Also, please know that you're liable to see me in a different color piece of hair almost every time you come back because, girl, so when I was unpacking, I found this little piece of hair that I bought from RPG show like forever ago. I said, girl, where you been? And I have so many wigs that I bought before I locked my hair that I just completely forgot about because I got locks, and also because I bought them so long ago. And I just found an all blonde one the other day, a full 613. I think I'm gonna tone her up and slap her on my head one day soon. So there's that. I don't really have any more updates because we just saw each other. So without further ado, I'm gonna get into today's video. This case really reminded me of the Atlanta twins, Jazz and Taz Maya, that killed their mom. Very similar. What is wrong with these children? And it's possible that you heard this story already, but under different names, because due to them being like minors at the time, their identities were concealed. Most media outlets were forced to use aliases, even for the mom. Linda Anderson is what they call her. Sandra and Elizabeth is what they call the daughters. But y'all know me, baby. We going by real names around here. Who gonna check me, boo? So Ann here was born April 5th of 1959. She was born and raised in Poland, but sometime before her becoming a young adult, she migrates to Ontario, Canada. And by 1987, age 28, she is married, and she and her husband are expecting their first child together. This is a very exciting time for Ann. A husband, a family, all of that is a dream of hers that is finally coming true. However, things do not go according to how she had envisioned, right? Do they ever? Now, she and her husband have a daughter that they choose to name Carolyn. And right away, parenthood begins to take a toll on their relationship. However, within a year of having their first child, Ann finds out that she is pregnant again with her second, another girl that they named Catherine. Now, shortly after Ann gives birth to their second child, her husband begins to show little interest in being a father. I don't know if he wanted boys and he kept getting these girls, if he just realized that parenthood was not his cup of tea. I don't know. But his interest in being a father goes, and his interest in being a husband is out of here shortly thereafter. The entire family would be home, and he would literally be ignoring Ann and the girls. So needless to say, the start of their family ends up being the end of their union. The two of them divorce, and after their divorce, he keeps that same energy, refusing to be an active parent. He also refuses to pay Ann child support, leaving her financially responsible for their two children. In order to finance this whole situation, Ann is forced to work 2 jobs to make ends meet, and this situation really begins to take a toll on her. She falls into a depressive state and uses a nice stiff drink to often take the edge off. But unfortunately, drunk or sober, she is still very heartbroken and very lonely. Now, when Ann begins dating a guy her job, he brings a little bit of light back into her life. Again, Ann finds herself in a place where she is smitten by her lover and hopeful for their future. Her new man is great. He's supportive, he's kind, everything she wants her man to be. He is also accepting of her children, which is very important to her, especially considering how and why her marriage had ended. Eventually, after dating for some time, he moves into Ann's home, and the mask begins to slip because he has a nasty little temper, and he also becomes very violent during arguments. Ann really desperately wants this happily ever after, so she looks over a few things, right? And they indulge in this toxic relationship for years before the relationship becomes to an end and he moves out of the house. And despite how toxic their relationship may have been, and still mourns the end of it just as she had the end of her marriage. And at this point, the drinking spirals out of control. Her daughters, now young teens, are noticing how her drinking is impacting their life. And at this point, they begin to resent Anne. As her drinking and depression has increasingly gotten worse, that drive to work multiple jobs and support her family by any means necessary has dwindled down to her barely making ends meet, and a lot of times prioritizing her liquor over their basic needs. And she also relies heavily on her daughters to perform essential household tasks, just about all of them actually. And their responsibilities become significantly worse once she becomes pregnant and gives birth to a son. Because now, in addition to taking care of all the household tasks, the teen girls are also tasked with looking after their baby brother on top of everything else that they have to do. Even doing the cooking whenever Anne does have grocery in the house. Because there are times where they lack the basic essentials, okay? I'm talking about food, toiletries. They reach out to their father regarding their mother's neglect, and nothing is done by him, which is pretty on brand for what we know about him, right? They even reach out to the grandparents and a friend of Anne about their mother's struggle with alcohol, hoping that somebody will force her to get help. But it is still to no avail because no one steps in. And at this point, their resentment for their mother, it just grows. Especially because in their eyes, she is completely torn up and has let her life go off the rails for a loser. Two losers at this point. They began to complain to her about how she never has money for anything else, but she always has alcohol money somehow. And they're saying how their friends live in comparison to them in these nice big houses that their parents keep maintained, the nice clothing that their friends have, the nice shoes, the swimming pools in the backyard, just all of the things that they wish they themselves had and in their minds would have if Anne had her life together. But them confronting Anne about her drinking always just leads to an argument, which sometimes will become a screaming match, and nothing changes because Anne, in their mind, does not even care to make their situation better. And when she loses her job as an x-ray tech, the girls become especially disgusted with her. And at this point, they begin discussing their options to turn their situation around themselves. Catherine says to her sister, she's never gonna stop drinking. She's gonna die from this. I should just kill her because it's like torture being trapped here. And Carolyn, she actually shares her sister's sentiments. The two of them also acknowledge the fact that they stand to receive a nice little payout from their mother's life insurance policy. At this point, they start to do their research. They scour the internet for clean and quick ways to carry out the task, and they also want it to look like an accident. So the two of them agree that drowning is probably their best bet. They'll just make it look like she had a bit too much to drink and had tragically slipped down into her bath water. They even discussed their plans with three of their closest friends who not only encouraged them to do it, but also jump at the opportunity to help them plan the whole thing out. And the group of teens decide that they'll use the insurance money to fund a trip to Europe. And then whatever is left will go toward the girls getting a new home. The plan is laid out, and come January 18th of 2003, the girls are ready to set the plan in motion. At around lunchtime, they begin showering their mother with alcohol, knowing that she will not turn it down. And unbeknownst to Anne, this alcohol that they're feeding her has been contaminated. They've crushed 6 Tylenol 3 into a very fine powder and have mixed it into her drinks. And they do this in an effort to slow her heart rate down and lessen her chances of fighting back. While all of this is settling into her system, they go and prepare the bath water. They text the friend group who wishes them luck and advises them to wear gloves for the next phase. So they go and grab those, and by the time the tub is filled and they have the gloves, Anne is almost out of it. She's very much inebriated. So much so that she can barely walk, but the two girls lead her into the bathroom, telling her that they have run her a warm bath, that they want to give her a massage, which they do for a while before instructing her to lie back a bit more in the tub. And as soon as she does, Caroline, the older sister, pushes her head underneath the water and holds it there, while Catherine monitors the stopwatch, signaling Carolyn to release her after 4 minutes have passed, because according to their research, it takes about that long for someone to drown. At this point, the two girls move to stage 3, which is establishing an alibi. They leave Anne there in the tub while they go meet with a group of friends at a restaurant, arriving at exactly 6:51 p.m. There, they update the friend group that what they had discussed has been done successfully. The group then celebrates and discusses what the trip will be like, all the things that they plan to do, what they want to see. They take their time there at the restaurant, talking amongst their friends, just having a good old time before moving to the next phase, which is the discovery. Caroline and Catherine make it back home at around 10:30 p.m. and as soon as they get home, they make the frantic 911 call, pretending like they had just gotten home and discovered their mother. They tell the operator that they had left home around 6 p.m., that their mother was already inebriated and was preparing to take a bath, but they believe that something had gone terribly wrong and she had somehow fallen asleep and slid down into her bathwater. An officer is dispatched to the home. Both girls come across as very emotionally distraught, and by all accounts, it seems that the girl's story is true. Despite having an alarming amount of codeine and alcohol in her system, no one questions whether or not this was truly an accident. Her COD is listed as an accidental drowning, and the two girls are sent to live with their aunt. Their younger brother is sent to live with another family member. Each of the children are allocated roughly $67,000 from their mother's life insurance policy, and the girls go on with their lives after that. But then, roughly 11 months after the incident, one of the girls is at a party when she tells her male friend that what had happened to her mother was not an accident, that she and her sister had actually killed Anne and had gotten away with it. This is not the first time that they brag or boast about doing this to Anne. However, this is the first time that the person that they told goes to the police. Now, the officers hear him out, but they know that they'll need a little bit more than his word in order to make an arrest. So they wire the young man and ask him to go back and have more conversations with the sisters to attempt to get them admitting to this on tape. Over the course of the following month, he hangs out with the girls, pretending to be impressed by their sinister secret and asking a bunch of questions, dying to know more. And the two of them proudly give him every detail, from the why to the planning, the day of, and their life after. January 21st of 2004, almost exactly a year to the date of their mother's murder, the two girls are arrested and placed in different detention centers. Initially, both girls deny having done any of the things, right? But a few hours in, Carolyn cracks and admits that she and her sister had actually killed Anne. And eventually, both girls end up making taped confessions detailing their role in the crime. As a part of the investigation, their computer is seized and searched, and detectives find all of the messages between them and the friends where they planned everything out beforehand. They find the search history for where they look to see what effects alcohol has on Tylenol 3. How long does it take one to drown? A bunch of incriminating searches that they had not cleared from the browser. And at this point, each girl is charged with murder in the first degree. Their trial begins in November of 2005, and with all the evidence against them, they do not stand a chance, a snowflake's chance in hell, receiving a not guilty verdict. Both of the girls are found guilty, but only sentenced to 10 years in prison, because that is the max for someone under the age of 18. And the 10 years is actually 6 years in prison and the other 4 on release supervision. So they ain't even gotta stay in the whole 10. Had they been just a couple of years older, both girls would have undoubtedly received life prison sentences. What is left of their life insurance payout, a combined $48,487, is seized because, girl, y'all can't keep that. It is then reallocated to their younger brother. Now, as for the friends who lended their expertise and decided to help, only one is charged. One is charged with conspiracy to commit murder and covering up a crime because he had actually supplied the girls with the Tylenol that they had used. He was found guilty as well, but he received 8 months in prison and an additional 4 months to be served after the fact under supervised release. Now in 2009, 4 years into their sentence, Sherrilyn is released early to a halfway house, and in the following year, the other sister Catherine is also released early. Both keep a very low profile and move forward with pretty normal lives, and I'm sure it helped that at the time most media was required to use aliases as opposed to the girls' real names to protect their identities, but here I am, girl. Both girls obtained college degrees. It is said that Caroline studied engineering and Catherine got married, had children, and obtained a law degree. Now, apparently, in order to pass the bar up in Ontario, you are required to be of good character, and you're required to report all criminal proceedings to the Law Society of Ontario. An adult murderer surely could not pass such a standard. However, a child killer might be given the opportunity. From what I read, it's like a case-by-case scenario. In a case such as this, a hearing would be held to determine if the person meets the ethical and professional standard to be a lawyer. And I want to know what you think. Do you feel like she meets the ethical standard to become a lawyer? I understand that the way Canada says their jail is set up is like to rehabilitate. Unlike our U.S. prison system, Canada's is, at least for the youth, set up to where they can rehab their criminals and give them a fresh start and, you know, a second chance. But I don't know, child. They ain't have to kill Ann like that. And I ain't gonna hold you. I would not be too quick to obtain a lawyer that only beat a life sentence on a technicality. Like, had she been 18, with all the evidence against her and how sloppy this case was, mama would have been in jail forever. Girl, you can't come represent me with that. I'm sorry. But anyway, that's just my little 2 cents. I also think it's fair to mention that one of the sisters later said that the boyfriend that their mom had abused her, had been inappropriate with her, and that is why Anne broke up with him. And she had claimed that she had reported it, but there were no records of any reports like this being made, only her reaching out saying that her mother was a heavy drinker who was neglecting them. But that is pretty much it for this case. Let me know your thoughts down below. Like the video if you have not, share the video with a friend, subscribe if you have not. As always, I appreciate you so much for spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Peace. Who gonna check me, boo? Bella, please don't do this. Ah! Y'all gotta get up out of here, baby. Y'all gotta go. No, we ain't mentioned where she was raised. Oh, I gotta get my shit together. I gotta get my shit together. Now, shortly after Anne gives birth to the second child, Blue, please. He brings a little bit of life back into her life. Not life back into her light. Now, who you, what? Excuse me? Hey, baby, so pretty. Bella, I have to do this. Okay, hold on. Look, Bella, we can't make this a habit. She just want to sit here in my lap and she can't. Then I proceed to let her do it. Can you just please relax? No, baby, you're not climbing up there on this desk. Stop that. Okay, you can sit here for a second, but you're gonna have to go, okay? You're gonna have to go, and look at you. You like a little chest scratch? Come on, mommy. All right, stop. All right, I appreciate your company. You gotta tell the people's bye. You like what, people? Look at you looking at yourself in the mirror. He's a pretty girl. Being a single parent, baby, it's just a lot. And their responsibilities become significantly worse once she has, especially, so much so that she can barely walk. But the 2 girls are then, the 2 girls are, why do I keep hitting the mic? Maybe it's in the wrong spot. And eventually both girls end up making a tape to fashion. Girl, what? Caroline is released early to a... I lost the contact like 10 minutes ago. Everything else I have done without 2 good eyes, but putting on this lash is a struggle right now. My goodness. I started not to put on lashes. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you. Okay. I messed that up so bad.